Hello and welcome. I'm Tim Gresham from Temple Healthcare. In this video, we're going to run you through the basic communication protocols between the Centec transcutaneous CO2 monitor and your computer loaded with the VStats software. Now, this functionality allows you to download data that you've recorded from patients from the device, the Centec device, onto your computer and then share that data, analyze the data. It also allows you to set up various profiles on the device. Now, the device itself can hold up to four different profiles. So if you're running different settings for different research protocols or different patient types, then you can do that on the device, and you can swap between those profiles very, very easily. Okay, now in order to make this functionality possible, we're going to obviously need the Centec device, the Centec SDMS. We're going to need a computer loaded with the VStats software, and we're going to need the serial to USB interface cable. Now, in a previous video, and you can check it out on the website, but the previous video has explained how to download and install the Centec VStats software, and it has also explained how to download, install the drivers for the USB to serial cable. So if you haven't done that yet, go back to a previous video and have a look at that. It's fairly easy and fairly self-explanatory, and so far we haven't had any problems with customers setting those up. But once you've got all of those three things, the cable, the Centec SDMS, and the computer loaded with VStats software, then the rest is all just connecting it up and running the software. So let's do that, shall we? So here we are at the software. We've opened VStats, and we have three options available to us. The communication with the SDM, that's the Centec Digital Monitoring, or if you add an S on the end, it's Centec Digital Monitoring System, the File Manager, and VCareNet. VCareNet is a package that allows users of multiple systems to network those systems together and display those systems on a single nurse's station monitor. It requires an additional license, so we don't have that activated at the moment. What we're mostly concerned about now is communication with the SDM. The communication with the SDM allows you then to download data from the device and also set up various profiles on the device, set up the settings and the profiles. So we can click on that one. We have chosen COM7. If COM7 is not the correct one, you'll get a red connection status here, in which case just drop down that menu and choose from the list whichever COM port is being used for the USB serial port. I've only ever come across once where there are several USB serial ports, and I just had to try each one until I found the one that was communicating with the SDM. So there we are, it's all communicating. There's a couple of options here available to you: downloading data from the SDM, downloading data with ID. Of course, we haven't actually loaded up the ID with the device at the moment, so it isn't detecting any IDs, patient IDs. Adding patient ID in, clearing the trend data of the SDM, the monitor, setting the time and date of the SDM, which also incidentally clears the trend data. Profiles and special functions. The two we're going to use mostly in this video is the profiles and downloading data. So let's go ahead and look at that, downloading data from the SDM. And look, there's one recording there. If we had multiple recordings, this window may well be filled up. Okay, now this recording was a recording I did a minute ago because I'm using a demo machine, and we usually wipe the demo machines before we pass it on to another customer, so I had to record one for myself. You can see the start time, the start date, and the end time and the end date. You can also see this was about half an hour's worth of recording. All right, so in order to download that, all I really need to do is tick that. I can add in my name and my first name. We can fill in as many fields as you like, or as little fields as you like. You don't have to fill out any of these if you don't want to. But it's always handy if you've got an extra identifier other than the time and date that the recording was taken. So let's just say trial for video, and I don't have a patient number, I could put in that, and that's really all we need to worry about. Then the green button is all we need to do. So hit convert. We can see the number of minutes that's downloading, and it went very quickly. Okay, and that's all done. Then you can move on to the next one. We can do one of these two functions if we want to. Clear that off the device and set the time and date. We're not going to do that just at the moment, so we push cancel there. We're also going to cancel that interface box there, and we're going to have a quick look at this study. And this is exactly what I've just recorded. You can see I did a little bit of an exercise here where I hyperventilated for a while, and right at the end of the hyperventilation, I held my breath. On the breath hold, I was able to get down to 67 on the SATs, and then it recovers very, very quickly back up to 99. And on the breath hold, you'll see also that the CO2 recovers very quickly. Incidentally, the blue line is the drift corrected line, and the green line is the raw line. We will go into analyzing data in another video, but this is a nice little snapshot of a very quick study that's half an hour long. And that's really all you need to worry about with downloading the data. You'll see that this file itself, if I go back to the file manager, this is actually will be in the Dayton file. So that the file structure is on the C drive. FG is where the VStats goes, and VStats then data. Examples is where all my example files are, but these ones, because they're clinically recorded, they just get dumped into there. I will show you how to change that folder if you want to, and save everything on a network drive or something equivalent. But we can have a quick look at that. See Tim Gresham, that's the one there that I've just downloaded. Trial for video. So all of those comments, patient number would have gone in there if I'd entered it, and that's all good. So we'll close that down now. We can close that and have a look at a couple more functions of communicating with the device. Again, communicating now. If we look at setting up profiles straight away, and we just click on setting profiles, you'll see it asks us for a password. Now, unless you change the password is going to be here, and I will show you where that is. If you go to, so we have to cancel that to get to it. If we go to the help button, info, and that identification code, if I just right click on that, copy that to the clipboard, close that, communication with the device, we wait till it communicates. Okay, so now we're communicating with the SDM, and then we can click on the profiles and settings, and we can paste that password in and push OK. We'll find it will take us straight into that area of the menu and brings us up this dialog box. These here are the profiles that are actually on the device itself. So if we went into the menu structure of the device now, we would see that profile, the basic profile with the demo mode. We'd see a sleep profile with demo NICU, and this one called RPA Sleep DIM, which is an RPA profile that Royal Prince Alfred Hospital uses in their sleep lab. So that's what's set up on this device, and if I change to another device, I'll see other profiles. These down here in this dialog box is where is the current settings on the device that the computer is actually talking to. Again, so this is all current. This is exactly what's on the device, and we can scroll through all of the different tabs. Don't pay too much attention to what's on there at the moment. We'll go through them in a minute. And then also we've got a little window into our database which resides on our computer. So we can select a profile to adapt if we want to edit. Okay, and we can import other profiles from somewhere else. So you can actually send these profiles around via email if you want. If you've got several labs and you want everybody to use a specific profile, generate a profile, then email it to somebody else and get them all to use the same profile. All right, now if we want the device just to run as a dumb machine, so it adopts any settings that you set on it, you just change it over to a basic profile. We're going to go OK to that. Note that the settings of the current SEM will be maintained during etc. OK, I'm going to do that. And now this machine has no profiles on it. It's just going to adopt whatever setting you give it, because it's in a very basic mode. This is probably not recommended. If you're running on a specific profile in an ICU or in a sleep lab, and someone changes your profile, there are actually ways which you can tell someone's made a change to the settings. But if this is just running in basic mode, and you go to put it on a patient, there is no way you really can tell whether someone's changed the settings or not. It just adopts whatever settings you put in it. So let's just change that back to institutional mode, where we can set up the profiles. And it's asking us to choose a bunch of profiles. So let's just choose the top 3 there. I think that's pretty much what we had before. And maybe we'll also choose that RPA Sleep Dim if I still have it. Yes, here it is. And we want to choose a profile that it goes to by default. So I'm just going to hit that and hit set. And we go yes to that. It's just telling us what correction modes it's using, and this is using the Severing-House correction mode to best estimate arterial blood gas. And we go yes. Now it's sending all of those profiles to the device, and you'll see that it's that it'll be populated with all the profiles that we've just set to. So that's our machine again, reset up. Now the best way to actually edit a profile and save a profile is to just choose one you want that's more or less what you want. Say if you're working in a sleep lab and you want to edit a sleep profile, let's just make the machine, set the machine to that profile. Yes. And you'll find some of these will change if the profile changes any of those settings. And then we just go through here and we check to make sure everything's right. Now the alarm settings is the first tab. With sleep labs, they don't want alarms, and they certainly don't want alarm reminders because our patients are asleep, and they don't want to be woken up with alarms from the machines. All of this is being monitored in a central station anyway, so alarms can be set for those for the sleep software. So we've turned everything off here, and you can see that that's the way it's all set up. The next measurement settings, time range for trends. Sleep labs do like to have long time range. ICUs will set that more like 15 or 20 minutes, maybe an hour. We're using an adult patient mode, and these are the enabled parameters. We've got a VCheck mode here, which is really just a 15-minute snapshot, and you can then display on the screen. So if you make a change to a ventilator setting or a nebulizer or something like that, you can then select a VCheck and see how that patient is going. It'll display some stats on the screen after 15 minutes of checking. It's a very, very useful in intensive care, so I encourage you to look into that if you work in intensive care. Also, we've got a temperature sensor, the temperature of the probe set to 42 degrees. And it's set there, that's maximum, and that's what it's actually set to on this profile. Sight time maximum and sight time set. You'll notice that it actually can't go beyond 12 hours. That is the sight time maximum for the device. And we've got that for a sleep lab, we've got that set to 12 hours as well. We really don't want it stopping measuring halfway through the night. Sight protection is on, in that if it reaches the sight time, it's going to reduce the temperature of the probe. And then we've got initial heating turned off. Initial heating is where we heat up the probe slightly above 42 degrees to get the site heated up a little bit more, and then it goes back down to 42 degrees after about 5 minutes, I think. Measurement settings 2, we can go through all of these individually, but I'm not sure whether I really want to bore you with that. We can see there's different trend ranges, there's different CO2 settings, the units are there also. We have enabled the in vivo correction, and we've enabled the Severing-House correction mode, which best estimates arterial blood gas. And we've got a permitted calibration interval of 12 hours. The sight time, incidentally, the machine will run for as long as either the lowest of the sight time or the calibration interval. So if you've got both of them set to 12 hours, the machine will run for 12 hours. Okay. Message for recommended sensor stabilization is also there. We're not displaying the CO2 calibration curve when it calibrates. It generally just confuses people on the board. It just puts up the calibration curve on the screen. It's interesting to watch sometimes, but as a general rule, we leave it turned off. Then the system settings, we can adjust the colors and the brightness. Some of the sleep labs like to make these the brightness quite dim, so that rather than turning the screen off completely, it just dims it out. But there is a mode whereby we can completely dim the screen right out with no light whatsoever after 30 seconds of inactivity. And the display and sleep mode, here it is here. So we can turn that on or we can turn it off. This is on by default for a sleep lab, for a sleep profile. But if we were to turn that off for a sleep profile, we would probably put this on somewhere around about 5% dimness in the screen. Okay, so that really does give us a nice dim screen, and it won't wake anybody up. Right, interfaces is useful if you're interfacing with monitors, or if you're interfacing with PSG machines. This is the protocols for the analog interface, in that 0 to 1 volts on the output is equal to 0 to 100 millimeters of mercury on the CO2 channel, and 0 to 100% on the SATS channel, and pulse rate's a little bit different. Okay, and that's really all we need to worry about. Once we've set that up, we can then, so that's our new profile. We've just set everything up. We're going to save that to the database. Just going to say, what do you want to save it as? And I'm going to say new profile for video. I'm hoping it'll fit. No, I'll just put vid in there, vid. Okay, now I generally just make the file name the same as the profile name to avoid confusion, and we go OK, and that's now saved us a new profile. Okay, now you'll notice it hasn't actually put it onto the machine yet, hasn't put it into one of the profile slots on the machine. So if we wanted that profile, we would actually have to choose it. So let's go and find it. There it is, new profile vid. Let's choose it and set the machine to that. Do we want to store the existing profile? It always asks us that, even if we've just saved it. We're going to go no. Then that's the same message again about the Severinghus correction. We're going to go yes. And you'll notice now that our machine, if you look on the screen of the machine, you will see in the top left-hand corner, it actually says new profile vid. And that's how we set up profiles. As I said, you're going to have 4 profiles hot swappable on the machine. The best way to get to the profiles is to hit the enter button twice from the home screen, and the enter button, which is not twice, the enter button, which is just a quick access menu button. Really, when you hit that once, it's like hitting a right mouse button, and then go to profiles on that screen. It'll bring up the profile straight away. Then, if we like, when we finish that, we can close that down, and we can have a look at some of the other functions on here. Of course, clearing the trend data is exactly what it says it is. Do you want to clear all the trend data off the SDM? I'm not going to, but if I hit yes, it would do a very quick delete of all the data on the device. If I want to set the time and date of the SDM, it tells you what it's going to do, and it says, do you want to proceed? It's also going to clear the trend data of the device. If you don't want to do that, you can hit no. If you do want to do that, you can hit yes. If the time and the date is wrong on the machine, and it's worth checking from time to time, then obviously all of your files are going to be recorded with the wrong reference times and date. So it's always best to once every now and again check the time and date. If it's wrong, make sure you've downloaded all the data, and then hit yes, and reset that time. It'll set it incidentally to the time that you've got on your computer. And special functions. So special functions requires that password again. We're going to paste it in, and we're going to go OK. And we've got a full memory dump, which is a service tool. Sometimes I will ask you for a full memory dump so I can diagnose what's happening with the machine, in which case I will probably steer you in this direction, or a raw data dump as well as possible. You can also do, incidentally, a screenshot of the machine. So if you're wondering, or if you've got something on the screen that looks really, really interesting, and you want to share that, you want to put it into a presentation or creating a presentation, then you can do a screenshot of the device. Then also you've got you can restore the factory settings of the device. So it will be, if you hit that button, it will be as it was as it came out of the box, and it will clear all of the trend data as well. Right, and we can close that. We can then cancel that, back to the original menu, and then you can go back to the machine. So I trust you found that informative and valuable. If you have any other questions regarding either the Centec transcutaneous CO2 and O2 monitor or any of our other products, don't hesitate to give us a call on 02 4858 0690. Or if you like, check out our website at www.templehealthcare.com.au. Thank you for joining us.